Okay, so now let us discuss about the oxygen dissociation curve. So oxygen dissociation curve is nothing but a graphical representation. It is a graphical representation of, and this gives the relationship between the partial pressure of oxygen and percentage saturation of hemoglobin. What do you mean by that? See, here we are speaking about the transportation of oxygen. I told you majority of the oxygen, that is 97% of oxygen, it will be transported inside our body as oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin in the sense hemoglobin, it will be bound to the oxygen. So hemoglobin will be bound to the oxygen only under high partial pressures. So this can be represented graphically, and this graph here it is called as oxygen dissociation curve. And this oxygen dissociation curve, if you are seeing it as somewhat looking like the English alphabet letter S, and thus it is also called as sigmoid curve. It is also called as sigmoid curve. And this graph, it gives the relationship between the partial pressure of oxygen with that of the percentage saturation of hemoglobin. But what do you mean by percentage saturation of hemoglobin? It is nothing but the percentage of hemoglobin bound to the oxygen molecules is called as percentage saturation of hemoglobin. That is, how much percentage of hemoglobin is bound to the oxygen. How much percentage of hemoglobin that is bound to the oxygen, that is called as the percentage saturation of hemoglobin. That is called as percentage saturation of hemoglobin. So to explain that, I have written a graphical representation. On the x-axis, I have taken the partial pressure of oxygen, and what is the SI unit? That is mmHg. That is mmHg. Whereas on the y-axis, I have taken the percentage saturation of hemoglobin molecules. That means how many hemoglobin molecules have been bound to the oxygen molecules. How many hemoglobin molecules? One hemoglobin has the capacity to carry 4 molecules of oxygen. Likewise, inside our body, how many hemoglobins have been bound to the oxygen? So that one I have taken on y-axis. If you people observe, when there is a less partial pressure of oxygen, there is no binding of oxygen. There is no binding of oxygen to hemoglobin takes place. See, if you observe, it is 0. But as the partial pressure of oxygen goes on increasing, the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin molecules also goes on increasing. So when the say for example, under the partial pressure of 25 mmHg. So under the partial pressure of oxygen, when there is the partial pressure of oxygen about 25 mmHg, about 50% of hemoglobin molecules, have been bound to the oxygen molecules. Likewise, see, as the partial pressure of oxygen increases, the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin also increases. Say for example, when the partial pressure of oxygen is 25 mmHg, about 50% of hemoglobin molecules are saturated with oxygen. That means 50% of oxyhemoglobin has been formed. And next, inside our tissues, say for example, inside our tissues, when the partial pressure, not inside our tissues generally, so when the partial pressure of oxygen is 40 mmHg, say for example, when it is 40 mmHg, the percentage saturation of this hemoglobin will be about It will be about 75%. So it will be about 75. So under 40 mmHg, when the partial pressure of oxygen is 40 mmHg, about 75% of hemoglobin, it is saturated with oxygen. And for instance, when we take up the alveoli, so inside the alveoli, what is the partial pressure of oxygen? It is 104 mmHg. So 104 mmHg is the partial pressure of oxygen inside our alveoli. So when there is 104 mmHg partial pressure of oxygen, so the percentage saturation of this hemoglobin, it will be around 95 to 97. See here, 95 to 97. So at 104 mmHg, 95 or 97% of hemoglobin is saturated, and at 40 mmHg, that is at 40 mmHg of partial pressure of oxygen, about 75% of hemoglobin, it is saturated, and under 25 mmHg of partial pressure of oxygen, about 50% of hemoglobin has been saturated with the oxygen. And this point at which the percentage saturation of hemoglobin is 50 at 25 mmHg. This is called as P50. So at 25 mmHg, 50% of hemoglobin has been saturated with the oxygen, and this point can be called as P50. Likewise, this can be called as P75, and this point can be called as P97. Usually they will be checking during this corona time, they will be checking the percentage saturation of your oxygen. So wherever you go, they will be using pulse oximetry meter to check your percentage saturation of this oxygen. If you got 95% and above, then you are healthy. They will be treating you as healthy. But when the oxygen levels, it falls down, the percentage saturation, if it is less than 95%, they will be thinking that you might be having corona. So the percentage saturation in a healthy human being, it will be about the 95% to 100%. In between that, how much ever it is okay. So in a normal human people, in oxygenated blood, 97% saturation of hemoglobin will be seen. So this is called as oxygen dissociation curve, and this is nothing but the normal curve. This is under the normal conditions. This is under the normal conditions. See, initially there is no binding, and as the partial pressure goes on increasing, the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin, it rapidly increases. But at after reaching certain level, even though the partial pressure of oxygen is increasing, the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin, it remains constant. It remains constant because there the saturation level has reached, and thus then it remains constant. So this is nothing but the sigmoid curve, and this is the normal. It is under the normal conditions. But when we look at the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin inside the tissues, when we look at the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin inside the tissues, this curve, it shifts towards the right side. So this curve, it shifts towards the right side. See, the curve, it shifts towards the right side. And why? Because inside the tissues, the oxyhemoglobin, it dissociates to form hemoglobin and oxygen. Why the oxyhemoglobin dissociates inside the tissues? Because inside the tissues the temperature will be high and the protons production will be high, as I told you earlier, and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is also high, whereas the partial pressure of oxygen inside the tissues, it is very less. So when it is very less, the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin will not take place. Instead of that, dissociation takes place. So dissociation of oxyhemoglobin takes place, and these all are the factors which influences the shift of curve towards the right side, and this is called as Haldane effect. It is called as Haldane effect. And so this can also be called as right shift. It can also be called as the right shift. Whereas when we consider alveoli, so when we consider alveoli, inside the alveoli, as the partial pressure of oxygen is more, there is more partial pressure of oxygen, less temperature, less PCO2 concentration, and less protons are released inside the alveoli. It favors that condition, those all factors favors the formation of, or the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin takes place, which results in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. See, in such case what happens is the curve, it shifts towards the left side. So now the curve, it shifts towards the left side. In such cases, the curve, it shifts towards the left. So it can be written as left shift. So it can be written as left shift. And this is not Haldane effect, this is Haldane effect. Sorry, this is Haldane effect, and this is due to the Bohr's effect. This is due to the Bohr's effect. Okay. So here, why there is a shift of curve towards left side in alveoli. In alveoli, the partial pressure of oxygen will be more, and thus the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin takes place at a rapid phase, and thus there will be shift of curve towards left side, and this is called as Haldane effect, and this is also called as the left shift. And these all are the factors that influences the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin is formed inside the alveoli, whereas inside the tissues, due to all these factors, there is the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin into hemoglobin and oxygen. And this oxygen dissociation curve, it helps us to know the relationships between the partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and various environment inside our body. Now let us go through the MCQs. Which of the following factors affects the rate of diffusion of gases? Option A, partial pressure or concentration gradient of diffusing gases. B, solubility of gases. C, thickness of diffusion membrane. D, all of the above. So here, which factors affects the rate of diffusion of gases? All the above. So partial pressure, solubility of gases, thickness of diffusion membrane, all these effects. So option D. Next question. Lung alveoli of mammals have a thin wall composed of. Option A, simple cuboidal epithelium. B, simple squamous epithelium. C, stratified cuboidal epithelium. D, stratified squamous epithelium. So which is the right option? Option B. So our alveoli, it is made up of a single layer of squamous epithelium. So option B, simple squamous epithelium. Next question. The mode of respiration in rabbit is A, cutaneous. B, mucosal. C, tracheal. D. Pulmonary. Option D. Pulmonary. Next question. The respiratory diffusion membrane is majorly made up of dash layers. So our respiratory membrane, it is made up of how many layers? It is made up of, I'll read out the options. Option A 2, B 3, C 4, D 5. So it is made up of 3 layers. Option B. The solubility of carbon dioxide is dash times higher than that of oxygen. Option A 10 to 15, B 20 to 25, C 30 to 35 times, D 210 times. So how many times it is? 20 to 25 times. Option B. What is the value of PO2 minus PCO2? So here they are asking PO2 minus PCO2, where in deoxygenated blood. So they are asking in deoxygenated blood. So in the deoxygenated blood, what is the PO2 value? It is 40. PO2 value is 40, whereas in PCO2 value is 45. So 40 minus 45 is minus 5. I'll read out the options. Option A 5, B minus 5, C 45, D 40. So which is the right option? Option B minus 5. Next question. Select the incorrect statement from the following. Option A, diffusion of oxygen occurs from alveoli to tissue. B, diffusion of carbon dioxide occurs from tissue to alveoli. C, amount of carbon dioxide diffused through membrane is higher than that of oxygen. D, partial pressure of oxygen is higher in pulmonary artery than that of in pulmonary vein. So which is the incorrect statement? It is D. Partial pressure of oxygen is higher in pulmonary artery. But pulmonary artery, it carries deoxygenated blood. As it carries deoxygenated blood, partial pressure of oxygen will not be more, there it will be less. Whereas pulmonary vein, it carries oxygenated blood, and hence in pulmonary vein, partial pressure of oxygen, it will be more. So option D. Next question. The total thickness of respiratory diffusion membrane is A less than FM, B less than micrometer, C much less than mm, that is millimeter, D less than nm. So which is the right option? Option C. So it is just 0.2 mm in thickness, option C, which is even less than 1 mm. Okay. Next question. Diffusion membrane is made up of option A, thin squamous epithelium of alveoli, B, endothelium of alveolar capillaries, C, basement membrane between the two layers, D, all the above. So which is the right option? All the above. Option D. Next question. Partial pressures in mmHg of oxygen in atmospheric air, alveoli, deoxygenated blood, oxygenated blood and tissues are option A 159, 104, 40, 95, 40, B 104, 40, 40, 95, 159, C 0.3, 40, 45, 40, 45, D 159, 104, 45, 95, 40. So which is the right option? The partial pressure of oxygen in atmosphere, it is 159 mmHg. In alveoli, it is 104 mmHg. And then they has asked the deoxygenated blood. So in deoxygenated blood, it is 40. In oxygenated blood, it is 95. And in tissues, they has asked. So in tissues, it is 40. So which is the right option? Option A. 159, 104, 40, 95 and 40. Next question. The partial pressure, that is in mmHg. Now they have asked the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in atmospheric air, alveoli, deoxygenated blood, oxygenated blood and tissues are. So option A. Options are same as the previous question. So here I write. So the PCO2 In atmosphere it is 0.3 mmHg. In alveoli it is 40 mmHg. In deoxygenated blood it is 45. In oxygenated blood it is 40. In tissues it is 45. It is 45. So which is the right option? 0.30, 40, 45, 40, 45. So option C. Next question. The total percentage of oxygen transported by hemoglobin or RBC is option A 3%, B 97%, C 70%, D 7%. So total percentage of oxygen which is transported by hemoglobin. So hemoglobin, it is a pigment which is located in RBC. So how much it is? 97%, option B.